Thank you, Jajida. You know, when my brother there was trying to introduce you, I thought they're trying to invent you from Guinea or Cameroon. Say Diallo, yeah, Jallo. Distinguished guest, let me start first of all in honoring the honorable member of parliament, the honorable member of the UK Parliament, who are here present, and of course the organizers of this event. I bring you all warm greetings from our sunny country called Sierra Leone, and you will understand why I say sunny. The moment you arrive in the UK, you know what you're missing. I am actually missing sunlight. But I bring you greetings from His Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Madabio, and the people of the Republic of Sierra Leone. I consider my being here today as not as privileged, but I consider it an honor to be selected by the organizers of the London Political Summit and Award 2024, considering the array of distinguished and erudite and accomplished personalities who are present here this evening. There can be no better place to be than the United Kingdom House of Parliament for such important gathering to interact and discuss. Elated as I am about my recognition and selection, I feel very humble as well to share a platform which also provides an opportunity to amplify the small but impactful effort we are pursuing in our small, beautiful country called Sierra Leone. The theme for this event, the visionary leadership imperative for the social, economic, and gender equality in political governance, coined for this year's London Political Summit and Award, resonate with our context in Sierra Leone and very appropriate for my own situation as the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone. In today's world, we are living with the most unprecedented volatility, uncertainty, complexities, and ambiguities. Therefore, from any leadership to thrive and deliver on the burning issues for your people and humanity at large, it is imperative that you must be visionary. It is visionary leadership that understands the intrinsic connection between social, economic, and gender equality and the future of governance. In the Sierra Leone context, which might apply to several countries across the sub-Saharan Africa, every development issue is a priority, but the resources needed to respond and address such demands are very limited to us. To make matters difficult, the political term is short and very limited. And you all know visions are for long term. We came into leadership in 2018 and we're very desirous to turn things around with the best intentions. We quickly developed the medium-term National Development Plan 2019 to 2023, which His Excellency dubbed Education for the Development of Our Pathway to Achieving the Medium Income Status by 2030. Our national plan was hailed and admired globally as it was aligned with the African Union Agenda 2063 and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 2030. But more importantly, sets out a clear pathway for laying a firm foundation for our people. The visionary leadership His Excellency brought to Sierra Leone emboldened him to dare on promising during his campaign on a number of issues that has identified his presidency for us all. His initial pronouncement and policies disrupted the status quo, and the whole of Sierra Leone immediately felt his leadership. The free quality education for all children from primary to secondary school, and for girls opting to do science, technology, engineer, and mathematics. they can be supported up to university. Courageous to fight corruption that was pervasive, His Excellency allowed and empowered the office of the First Lady to move from a traditional ceremonial role to directly complementing the work of government in pursuing of national development, especially the critical aspect of empowering women and girls and daring to include women in leadership positions as the main vision for Sierra Leone's development. The new direction, as we call our current government, did not come into governance and assume leadership for the sake of power. We wanted to ensure that power was distributed to capture and include the diversity of our nation and the demography of our population so that decision-making can be inclusive and sustainable. This helps us understand the struggles, challenges, and aspirations of the marginalized groups of our population and empower us to shape policies that will address their needs and aspirations, which is why we listened to them and developed a national plan that was their own. Furthermore, long-term thinking and future benefit was central, which aim at ensuring Sierra Leoneans become competitive and useful in this technological and innovative world, and the best way of pursuing that was investing in education. Education is now the single highest taker of resources from our national budget. I will also want to address sexual reproductive issues that is affecting Africa. Now, I'll speak on behalf of Sierra Leone, but I also want you to emphasize that what Sierra Leone goes through is almost what the whole of the sub-Saharan Africa goes through. But the things that we have done to change those narratives so that we will be at the forefront in making sure that the changes that Africa needs, we will lead that. One of the critical issues Sierra Leone and majority of African countries grapple with is gender equality. Within this global framework and technology are gross violation, sexual and gender-based violence, especially rape, child marriage, teenage pregnancy, exclusion from education, access to the factors of productions, especially land and capital. But even more crucial is positions of leadership are reserved for boys and men only. This inhumane and outdated treatment has often been hidden and masked under culture, customs, traditions, and religion. Compelling unadulterated evidence shows the worst form of poverty, deprivation, neglect, and marginalization on the continent of Africa are prevalent among women and girls. In our world today, where the wealth gap continues to grow, political governance cannot ignore the consequences of inequality. It creates environments where people are disenfranchised, excluded from decision-making processes, and trapped in circle of never-ending poverties. Governments that fail to address social economic disparities risk undermining their own stability. In Sierra Leone, we have made some efforts that are broad-based, including protection, liberation, and empowerment. My Hands Off Our Girls campaign targeted sexual and gender-based violence, child marriage, teenage pregnancy, menstrual hygiene, child trafficking, HIV and AIDS, fistula, and I advocated for systemic policies and laws reformed. We adopted a governance approach that created specialized institutions and strengthened established ones. Fighting for and pursuing the empowerment of women and girls attain equality is a tough, difficult, unattractive, and daunting challenges and task. But I always say, to fight for women is a just, is fair, and the right thing to do in our society today if we want the world to go further. This is where my drive, my motivation, and inspiration come from. Research shows that when women are empowered, economy grows, peace is more sustainable, and societies are more resilient. Women in leadership brings new perspective, innovative solutions, and commitment to inclusivity that is essential for addressing the complex challenges we face today. Gender inequality similarly undermines the fabric of our society. We, the women, make up roughly half of the world's population, but yet still we remain unrepresented in political institutions, the general workforce, leadership roles, and other decision-making processes. Political governance is very critical and continue to hold the key to reforming and shaping the policies that will either perpetuate or dismantle inequality. The role of government is to provide sound, accountable leadership to the citizens which they can trust and relate to. Again, the role of visionary leaders should be at the forefront of carving the way and creating a sustainable path to equality in society. Therefore, political leadership should ensure that the legal framework that guarantees recognition, equal opportunities, freedoms, protection from gender-based violence, ensure there is access to social services, especially education, health, food, and others, but more importantly, targeted interventions, including social safety nets, needed to lift people out of poverty and misery. Governance here is also about ensuring a holistic performance of all the organs of government, the executives, the legislature and judiciary, as well as the citizens themselves in the performance of their civic duties, electing, holding leaders to account, and protecting the resources of the state. As I come to close of my speech, I want to suggest as action we must take to develop visionary leadership for social, economic, and gender equality. My first suggestion is we must invest in educating the next generation of leaders with a focus of equality, empathy, inclusivity, accountability. There should be special leadership training programs, mentorship opportunities, and advocacy groups should be promoted to ensure that women and people from diverse backgrounds are supported and prepared to lead. My second suggestion is the legislative action. Laws and policies must be enacted, but more importantly, they should be enforced to address income inequality, gender-based violence, equal pay, and representation quotas in political offices. These aren't just checkboxes, they are essential building blocks of a more equitable society. Thirdly, we must break stereotypes. Society needs to actively challenge and dismantle harmful gender and social economic stereotypes, marks in cultures, traditions, and religion. We see these practices limiting opportunities and perpetuate inequality. We need to culture this in the mainstream, and social media incorporates them in education and practice them in our workplaces and in our communities. Last but not the least, we need to collaborate across sector. Visionary leadership requires collaboration across sector governance, civil society, and the private sector. We all must work together to push forward an agenda of equality. No one sector can solve these challenges alone, and in the spirit of the UN SDG 2030, we must leave no one behind. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at a crossroad. The future of political governance and indeed the future of our world depends on the decision we make today. We can choose to perpetuate inequality, or we can choose to lead with vision, courage, and empathy and accountability. We can choose to create systems that benefit a few, or we can choose to build a world where everyone has a seat at the table and benefit from the abundant resources nature has provided us. Therefore, visionary leadership is not an option, but an imperative. It is the only sure way we must follow and culture in pursuit of achieving true social, economic, and gender equality in political governance. And it is the only way we will build a future where everyone can be assured of an opportunity we all deserve and we all strive for. I thank you all for your kind attention.